It's almost 2 months now since Bulgarians have been taking to the streets to ask their Prime Minister Boko Borisov to step down. Protesters who stem from all walks of life say they're ashamed of their head of state. Among them is software engineer Vezinia, who from a cafe in Sofia says their demands are clear.
There are many people with a good profession and good state of life, which want to live in a normal country without corruption.
According to the Corruption Perception Index, Bulgaria is the most corrupt country in the EU. It's also the poorest. But it's pictures of his Prime Minister sleeping with a gun by his bed and the wider complex corruption scandals that brought this 31-year-old lawyer Yavor home.
People just want to see some form of change. It's not well defined. They're not sure who exactly should come after the resignation of the current government. But the one thing that unites everybody is that the current government must go.
The state of rule of law in Bulgaria came up last week inside the European Parliament in a closed-doors meeting chaired by the Dutch MEP Sophie in 't Veld. She calls on Bulgarian authorities for more clarification and asks the European Commission to stop turning a blind eye.
If we want, for example, to give support to the people in Belarus who are clamoring for democracy, the rule of law and fundamental rights, then we ourselves should be beyond reproach. And I think the European Commission, Mrs. von der Leyen in particular, has to show that she's not just supporting democratization outside the European Union, but that she's also standing firm for the rule of law and fundamental rights and democracy within the European Union.
A tricky situation, though, as the Bulgarian Prime Minister is well connected in EU circles and a long-term member of the European People's Party, the political family of Ursula von der Leyen.
It's always a delicate issue, looking at situations in member states. We've seen that before in the past with Hungary and Poland, where perhaps the response of the EU as a club wasn't as quick as it could have been. But I mean, that's because those countries are part of the club, which complicates things.
But even more complicated could be if the voices of the people on the ground in Bulgaria are silenced. Inspired by protests all around the east, they have no plans of stepping down.
Like, even if we don't get the resignation of the government, one consequence we're seeing is that we're seeing the birth of civil society in a way. I feel like the birth of a new way of thinking, and that's very important.
For Euronews, I'm Maeve McMahon in Brussels.